Alright, what is up, y'all? This is kind of a different kind of video. I'm not playing Elden Ring, instead I am reviewing Elden Ring in a way. So, today I'm going to be ranking all 26, I believe it's 26 Remembrance bosses, and I'm excited to do so. Let me just get the chat pulled up, and I will get started. There we go. Actually, every time I click, the chat's going to go away, so I have to pull it up on my phone. Anyway, it seems Estelle, the Natural Born, is the first item on this list, and I'm gonna rank these bosses based off enjoyability, importance of, visual, just like every kind of factor. Mainly enjoyability, though. If I find a boss to be unenjoyable or unimportant or kind of a dud, it's gonna get lower, even if it is kind of a spectacle. The way that it looks is important, but if it's just like kind of a meh fight in general, then I don't really see the reason to put it that high. So let's start with Estelle. Estelle is a very cool looking boss fight. I've only fought Estelle maybe 3 times total, and typically it's a very easy boss fight, and the easier boss fights really can't be ranked that high, as they're, for a boss fight to be good, you kind of want to have like a kind of a meal out of it. You want to enjoy like a a bit of a longer fight, not too long, of course, but you want to have a little more to it. And Estelle, to my knowledge, his moves aren't cheesy or hard to dodge, or the enjoyability is fine, but it's not very long, and it's kind of off the beaten path. So I'm just gonna put it in C tier. And then we move on to the Dancing Beast. What is that, the name? This is like the first boss you come across in Shadow of the Erd Tree. It is actually a pretty cool fight. It's a pretty cool fight, and I say it's pretty fun. A lot of people complain about the lightning phase, where it seems he's almost infallible, or not. He gets a lot of free damage, and But otherwise, it is a pretty entertaining fight. I will say the moveset is pretty repetitive. Even when he does change his phases, he jumps in the air, he explodes, and then he spins in a circle. And so for that, you can't really place it that high, but it's kind of just supposed to be the first boss that you're able to get to easily. Obviously, you can get to other bosses, and you don't even have to fight him, I don't think. You might have to. He might be mandatory, but this fight, I think, is a cool, unique concept. The multi-elemental facet is definitely very cool. For that, I think I can give him a B tier. Did they separate Radagon and Elden Beast? They did not. Okay, so they will be ranked together. Radagon is genuinely one of the best boss fights in the entire video game. If I had it my way, it would be Phase 1 Radagon, then Phase 2 Radagon again. We all know the unfortunate nature of that boss fight is that after you beat Radagon, you are then forced to fight Elden Beast, which is kind of mediocre to bad. But I'll get into what makes Radagon so good. All of his moves are super readable, super fun to dodge. It's like a dance. Everything he has is very easy to learn. He doesn't have a lot of moves, so maybe that could be a downside for some, seeing that he is kind of maybe too easy or too easy to read, or doesn't, is a little one-dimensional. But to me, it's a very fun boss fight, because it's just a boss you can really dance with, and if he was the entire thing, and if he had a second phase that made him just a little bit stronger instead of the Elden Beast, I think that would definitely be better. Elden Beast is kind of very not fun. You start the fight, you run up to him, you get 3 charged heavies, and then he blasts fire, and then he runs away. And then he puts a ring around you, and the ring explodes, and then he's shooting the stars at you, or whatever, and launching his sword, the ancient relic, waves of light. And he's always just running away, you're always chasing him, and this is a boss that I fought before the update that allows you to use Torrent. before using torrent, the fight was genuinely pure torture. Now it's like whatever. Like it's just not. I will always hate bosses that you have to run towards. The entire fight, like they're running away from you. I think that's just bad. Um, Radagon truly is, A tier on his own. He'd be S tier if he wasn't so easy. But I think just because of the sheer badness of the Elden Beast fight, I don't even want to say it's terrible. It's just not good, right? It's just maybe not good. So I think it's maybe definitely better than the Beast, whatever the fuck this is called. I think it's definitely better, but it's just not good enough for A tier. And now we get to Fire Giant. Fire Giant is definitely one of those bosses that no one likes. He is not anyone's favorite boss. He's just somewhat of just this tanky kind of guy that has these big swinging attacks, and here's the real thing that no one likes about these giant boss fights is that you're just kicking him in the ankle for 80% of the fight, and then second phase you're cutting him in the hand. I mean, how are you supposed to enjoy a boss fight that you're constantly just staring at a small portion of it? It kind of, to me, is a very bad visual, and it makes the fight very non-entertaining. All of his moves... No, he doesn't really have super cheesy moves. He's just kind of... He rolls away. He's one of those giant bosses that rolls away. I mean, no one wants to deal with one of those massive bosses that's just running from you. To me, that's just... Again, that's just irritating. Another boss you could use Torrent for. I find it easier to fight him without Torrent, for the most part, until he runs away. All of his attacks are pretty easy to dodge. I feel he's just one of those bosses that has such a huge health pool that he's gonna give a lot of players a lot of trouble. He's kind of like one of those roadblocks, when you enter the second half of the game, to show you, hey, you need to get stronger. You need to come back. Like, that's what he's for. That being said, he is one of the worst Remembrance bosses in the game. Simply, he's just not an entertaining fight. It's not very fun. You're smacking him in the ankle the entire time. I think this is going to be the first D tier for sure. And then this looks to be Fortisax. Is this Fortisax? It's got to be, right? Fortisax. Out of all the dragon fights in the game, he's definitely the easiest. He's very hard to get to. Very hard to find. He's just, like, way out of the way in a random area, in a random quest. Well, not a random quest line. Fia's quest line is pretty significant, but it's just very strange of a boss fight. He does Death Blight damage, which is... But you will never get Death Blighted by Fortisax, no matter what you do. Like, it's just kind of there because Fia does Death Blight. It's like I don't even understand it. But it's a very easy fight. He literally just stands there while you whack him. Out of all the dragon fights, he's the least amount of moves that can prevent you from just hitting him in the back leg. Like most dragons spin around or blast fire in between their legs, but he kind of just stands there and lets you kill him. He's just not super difficult. And usually you're fighting him in late game, and he is just not a late game boss. He doesn't have a late game health bar, and he doesn't do late game damage. His moveset is whatever. Very lackluster. He's got the spears and the glaive. Okay. Okay. Yeah, very cool looking fight. He's a very cool looking boss. Other than that, it's completely mediocre. I'd say it's a little better than Estelle. It's not letting me. Come on. There we go. A little better than Estelle. Not a lot better than Estelle. Not super great. And then we have Gaius. Do I have to say anything? This on release, on the DLC's release, he was a completely broken boss fight. He charged at you and it felt impossible to dodge. Impossible. Literally, I mean, and it was his first attack, by the way. It was a completely unavoidable attack. It's not like, oh, if you stand on this side of him, he might not do it like Draconic Tree Sentinel, where if you stand on the shield side, maybe you get a more favorable move set. This guy, no such case. That one charge completely ruined the fight for most players. His other moves are fine, I guess. Ultimately, the boss fight's not that bad, but it's just also not that good to make up for the fact that he just has kind of a weird, irritating move set. But it's Commander Gaius. I'm not putting him higher than D tier. He doesn't deserve it. He's just kind of a shitty character. There's really nothing more to it. I mean, he's just there, and you're only fighting him so you can get the Shadow Tree shards, right? The 5 that lie behind him. He's just not. Honestly, he only has one difficult move. Everything else is kind of simple-ish. I beat him pretty quickly in my last playthrough, which also kind of spoils the fight. It's like, oh, I beat him way too quick. This DLC, this is supposed to be hard. And yeah, once you get that charge move down, he's pretty much nothing, which is also bad. Now we get to Godfrey. This is going to be the first S tier for sure. Definitely one of my favorite fights in the game. He is just one of those fights where it's a true dance. He has a few moves that I kind of don't like, but where he raises the earth and explodes it, like, okay. And I'm always one to not appreciate attacks that hit the entire arena, which his Stomp does, and it doesn't start in the second phase, it starts in the second phase of his first phase, if that makes sense. But he is just such a good boss fight. He's one of those bosses where you can really test how many hits you can get in between each attack that he does. He is just super fun. A super fun boss fight. You can jump over certain things. It's really where you get to just test your ability, right? He's one of those bosses where you can just see what you can do, and you do it. And he gives you a real challenge. I remember my first time playing Elden Ring, my first playthrough, he was definitely the boss that I struggled the most on. And I was using Mimic Tear and Rot Breath. It didn't matter. He picked me up, he grabbed me, spiked me into the ground. And I deserved it. Horaloo, I will say, is not as good as the Godfrey moveset. It's not as fun to me. He's kind of chasing you a lot, doing a lot more irritating moves, pounding into the ground, exploding the earth, and in kind of more undodgeable ways. But I think even that really doesn't take away from his S-tieredness. He's super cool. Just the kind of boss that you want to be fighting at any given moment. He's just the GOAT. And this looks to be Godric the Grafted. I'm going to put Godric in B tier. I'm going to give him a B tier. I really think he is a fun boss fight. His moveset is super repetitive. His moveset is super repetitive. You might as well just have 4 moves, right? He has one where he stomps, spins the air, and either launches it at you or launches himself at you. And then one where he drags the axe, and then the big overhead swings, and then he has the dragon breath, and that's kind of it. He really doesn't have much. Maybe he pounds the earth, does one of those. He really doesn't have more than 5 or 6 moves, and that's being genuine. But honestly, all the moves, none of them are cheesy. Super chill to dodge them, super fun to dodge. I think he's the perfect first Remembrance boss. He's just enough health, just enough damage, and his moveset is super simple. And his roll catches aren't too aggressive like Margit's. And so, I give credit where it's due. A lot of people hate on Godfrey for being too easy or for being kind of a loser, because he is a loser. But tier list is not about how much aura these people have. It's about how good the boss fight is. And I think it's actually a pretty good boss fight. I'd say I even like it more than the dancing whatever the fuck. and I think it's earned its spot, and I think it's an underrated boss fight. I think Godfrey is underrated. Now we're on the Regal Ancestral fucking Ancestral Spirit, what is it even called? Who cares, man? This boss fight, not that it's horrible, it's probably better than Gaius, maybe not by much, it's just so insignificant, and it's one of those boss fights that maybe you find on accident, by, I can light these pyres, okay, or maybe you just find it online, so, it's a Remembrance boss, let me just go do it. it's not a boss you care about. It's not a boss that's really all that cool. And I beat him in about 4 hits because I was like, oh yeah, this boss. And I remembered that, okay, I have to get this remembrance, I guess, right? And apparently he can heal himself. It didn't get to that point with me. I completely destroyed him. It's just not very strong by the time you find him. Like, no one's just gunning straight for Regal Ancestor Spirit or whatever. It's just like, he's just there. And as far as the fight goes, it's just a big deer bucking around. It really feels like not that significant of a move set. It's just a whatever boss, and definitely worse than Fire Giant. I mean, come on. Alright. And then, next on the list we have Shadow Tree Avatar. This boss fight is not that good. I mean, the moves are spin, throw its head in the ground, launch spikes at you, or slam it to the ground and then shoot thorns out of the ground. And then in its second phase, it runs at you 3 times no matter what. And then it's back to the basics. And oh, it can also shoot a bunch of little sparklies at you. And then third phase, it explodes. Okay. And then it's back to the same moveset. It's very repetitive, very boring. And if you just, all you have to do is put a fire, Ash of War, or infusion on your weapon, and he immediately becomes the easiest boss in the entire game. Doing 3,000 or 5,000 damage per hit on this guy is a very simple task because of his complete incapability to resist fire. I mean, he's a goddamn flower. Okay. Not great. Not great at all. I say better than Gaius, more fun than Gaius, but I mean, the boss can give you trouble. It's got 3 phases. The only boss with 3 health bars. I think that's kind of unique. I think that's kind of cool. It's probably better than Regal, whatever the hell. Maybe even better than Fire Giant. I'll say it's better than Fire Giant, but it's, maybe it's even borderline C tier, but I can't in good faith put it in C tier because it just is not that awesome. It's just really just a flower throwing its hands at you. I don't care. And then we have Millennia, and this is going to be kind of a blast mistake. I put her in A. Most people will put her in S. I understand. But to me, how can you enjoy that fight, man? I can't do it. I can't, force myself to be like, oh, this is so fun because I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm getting my ass kicked. I just can't. This is about enjoyability or how good the boss is. Yeah, she's a well-made boss, but I think that waterfowl bullshit where you have to look up a guide just to know how to dodge it, I hate that kind of stuff where it feels unintuitive to dodge it just like how you normally would. And I know it's kind of nitpicking, but she has multiple moves like this where you kind of have to know how to dodge it. Even if you time it properly, you could still dodge it wrong. And I find that kind of irritating. And as much as all her other moves are super chill, and she's a very relentless boss, and you have to really know what you're doing, and I think that's fine to have to learn her moves and learn her combos. I think that's great. I think bosses that force you to learn are some of the best bosses in the game, but bosses where you have to look up how to dodge certain moves, I don't like it, and so she gets bumped down a tier. And then we have Malekith. Malekith is one of the GOATs. Not as good as Godfrey as a boss fight. He does not have a high enough health bar. He really is a glass cannon, but he is a pure spectacle. The Beast Clergyman, whatever. Who cares about the Beast Clergyman? It's a fine boss fight, but then once you kill the Beast Clergyman, you're in for a world of hurt, because this dude Malekith gives new players fits. He gives me fits sometimes. I mean, he's not easy. There was one move where I had to look it up, but I think that was just me being an idiot, to be quite honest with you. He's definitely weak to strength. He's weak to a lot of things because he just has no health whatsoever. But really, he is just so cool and fun to fight. And I mean, there's nothing really more to say. It's just a huge battle. You really have to find your openings against this guy. So his ability to not get hit really makes up for his lack of health bar, and the damage he does also makes up for it. I mean, you get hit with that Dust and Death, you're cooked. So he still remains difficult despite his health bar shortcomings, and truly he is one of my favorite boss fights in the game. But he's not going to be top of S tier, not by a long shot, because we have this dude Mesmer who easily destroys. Honestly, I'm putting him above Godfrey. I loved the Mesmer fight in this new playthrough. It was not a fight that I had previously appreciated to this degree, but I fought him and it just felt so good. It felt like a real, just pure boss fight. Like, I didn't feel like I was getting cheesed. Everything bad that happened to me was my mistake. I mean, that's most boss fights, but it really felt like you were in control of this boss fight, and every bad move you made was immediately punished. And every good move you made was immediately rewarded. All of his moves were super intuitive to dodge. Just a beautiful, beautiful fight, well made. In the DLC, where a lot of these boss fights kind of pissed me off a lot, he really, really surprised me with how much I loved it. And his second phase, just as cool. The snakes were, super sick looking, super chill to dodge, but still could catch you off guard because you didn't always know how many snakes were, gonna grab you in the moment. He's a really, I will say his moveset's pretty repetitive. He has like 3 combos, but the combos are long and you really have to know what you're doing. But he is just one of my favorite bosses to fight. There really is no rhyme or reason why I love it, but it just felt good. Like, I just fought him and I was happy. And is there any more you can even say? Is there any more you can even ask for from a boss fight? I mean, that was glorious. It's a glorious boss fight. I mean, I love the Mesmer fight. I love the Mesmer fight. I'll say it. Now, Matir. Matir is a bum. This fight is a bum fight. It's pretty trash. It's pretty trash. It's just some fingery, crawly, whatever. And then, yeah, they have that exploding move, but you can phase skip. You can... She stuns from 2 charged heavies. She staggers from that. I think that's absolutely insane. That is very weak. That is horrible stance on a pretty significant boss. As a Remembrance boss, and she staggers in 2 charged heavies. And her health bar does not make up for that fact. Her damage does not make up for that. Her moveset does not make up for that. She is a very weak, easy to dodge, just kind of pitiful boss. I think, many people destroy this boss. I don't even think I was overleveled, and I probably was overleveled, but I don't think that was the major issue. It was just one of those things where it was like, that's it. Probably the kind of boss that deserves a second health bar to make it more of a challenge, but yeah, I mean, this is no one's favorite boss, and it's certainly not my favorite. So, moving on to Midra, the Lord of Frenzy Flame. I love this boss fight. I think it is great. I don't love moves that explode the entire arena. I never will. But his is exceedingly easy to dodge, so it gets kind of a pass, but I still have to acknowledge that they chose to put it in the game, which I don't like. I don't like moves like that. But yeah, it's very staged. He does the same first move every time. You get your 2 charged heavies and he staggers. But the difference between him and Matir that makes him better despite being staggered by 2 charged heavies is that he's a fun boss fight. He has a cool moveset. He has a grab attack. I mean, what's better about him is he's human-sized. Meanwhile, Matir is this giant fucking creepy finger thing. Like, no. Notice how there's no giant bosses in the S tier or the A tier. That's going to be a pretty consistent theme. Midra is, a good-sized boss with moves that are super intuitive to dodge. There's many strategies you can use to defeat him. He is bleedable. He is parryable. You've seen many people dog on him. You've seen him dog on many people. I will say he's very annoying to get to. No one wants to go through those disgusting forests where those demonic creatures lie and wait for you. I think that's horrible, but all in all, he has a cool legacy dungeon with his own twists and tricks and paintings, that hide the path, and I think that's super intriguing to me. I do love his legacy dungeon. I think that should count for something. But yeah, super cool moveset, super cool looking boss, super fun to fight. Doesn't make you want to blow your brains out. I think just fantastic, fantastic stuff right there. And then we have Consort Radahn. You know, if this was when the game or the DLC first came out, he'd probably be firmly in D tier. But since they nerfed that double slash and nerfed the amount of the arena that he takes up when he explodes going into his second phase, I'm willing to say that he's a great boss fight. And he is extremely difficult, but it feels fine. Obviously, what's preventing him from being an S tier is his second phase is a bunch of light show bullshit that nobody likes. To this day, I don't care. I don't like lingering hitboxes. I don't like aftershock attacks. I don't like my screen being full of light and Miquella's hair. But I just do adore the moveset in the first phase. It is super fun. It is super easy to learn, and it is fun to learn it. It's a fun boss fight. It is good. It's just a light show. I don't appreciate it, but it's something that you can get over if you know his moves well enough. I don't think I did. I just kind of was relying on staggers. He's about the largest a boss can be before it gets annoying. But he has a lot of moves where you know that you can get a nice hit, and it's very obvious. So I like that about him. He's got cool combos. It's a cool boss fight. And now we have... What the hell am I looking at? Who is this guy? That's Moog? I believe that's Moog. Okay, Moog. Moog is kind of a mid-boss fight. Kind of mid. I'll say he's better than Godric, probably better than Elden Beast. But at the end of the day, he does a lot of standing still. And that's kind of not fun. He's just standing there hitting his un, duo, tre. It's like, keep speaking your Latin while I'm smacking the ever-loving shit out of you, dude. Like, just real boring. Boring first phase. The second phase is a lot more eventful, and that's why he's in the B tier. I think his second phase makes up for it. This is a boss that I cheese every time I try to just spam staggers and not even really learn the moveset just because of how long he stands still for. I think his knee heal bullshit is kind of annoying, how he gets automatic damage on the player. But you can kill Eleonora and get the Purifying Cracked here. So, all in all, it's a pretty negligible downside. He does heal, which I think he deserves because of how long he stands still in his first phase. He spews bullshit all over the arena, but, you know, it's not too abrasive. And he's just super big and easy to hit and slow. So I think it makes up for the fact that he does a shitload of damage and gets pretty much guaranteed damage on you with a lot of the things he does. So I kind of like it. I think it's kind of fun. It's maybe a, you know, if you're not just spamming the fuck out of him, he might be difficult, and taking advantage of the fact that how long he stands still might be difficult. Otherwise, it's actually too easy. So he's kind of imbalanced and inconsistent, but I will say I kind of enjoy the fight. And then we have Morgott. Morgott is definitely an A-tier boss. Super, super intriguing moveset. He has the stark issue of not having a lot of health for a boss that's in the middle of the game. But he makes up for it in a similar way that Malekith does with his maneuverability. But the difference between him and Malekith is that he also stands still, much like his brother Moog. He stands still for a very, very long time, allowing you to hit him. He has certain events that stagger him, like when he drops the daggers from the sky. When he throws a spear, he just stands there for a while. After he goes into second phase animation, obviously you can't do a lot of damage to him and he explodes, so you really have to back off. But if you can time it properly, you can get a bunch of good hits on him after that self-stagger. And then you can get an actual real stagger and riposte, and you pretty much do half of his damage, half of his second phase health bar. So, to me, his moveset's super cool, super unique, super hard to dodge, super hard to read, but the reason why that doesn't penalize him is because he makes up for it by being super easy to hit, much like Moog. It's a very similar story. So, I think that's kind of fun, but, you know, also he can be kind of frustrating. And on to Dragonlord Placidusax. Placi's a fine boss fight. It's a fine, but it's a dragon fight. And I have a lot to say about dragon fights, and it's not very positive. I will say his is the best because he's not just attacking you with his feet and tail and fire between the legs. He when you reach his second phase, he's teleporting around. He's going right towards your head, and you just gotta use your ears and find him. But I don't love the teleporting, but I think it works for him because straight after the teleportation, he's coming straight towards you. So you don't really have to chase him like a lot of other big bosses that run away. So I do actually like the Placidusax fight. He's a hard stagger. It takes like 4 charged heavies, which I think all dragons should be a little harder to stagger because of how big their hitboxes are. He has plenty of moves that prevent you from just whacking on his tail, but probably not enough. He needs Bale will prevent you, but Placidusax won't. And I'm seeing Bale is actually not here because he's not technically a Remembrance boss. He has his own thing. Oh, I just realized that. But don't worry, he would be D tier. But Placidusax, I think he's a spectacle. Placidusax's Ruin, where he's shooting on the lasers around, it's kind of just a useless move. It's just there to show off how cool the fight is. It's really just a fight that is there to be cool. But I think they made the mistake of also making it good. It was an accidental, this fight looks super cool, but it's also really good, which they forgot to do with Bale, I think. They made it look really cool, but they made it dog shit. But Placidusax, super cool fight, and you could just tell there's tons of lore baked into him with all his missing heads and all the damage, and he's waiting there for you in this awesome arena, and it just feels like, there's nothing there that you can't do against Placidusax. It doesn't feel restricting. You don't have to change your play style. He's just there, and you fight him. It's a head-to-head battle between 2 goats, and I think that's cool. Putrescent Knight, just not good. Honestly, I don't know. The only thing preventing him from being in D tier is that he's easy, and normally that would be bad, but his low health bar is what makes him easy. His moves are certainly very difficult to dodge. He just has these weird timings, and the flame attack is like this staged attack, and once you get it down, it's easy enough, but he's just constantly moving. He's constantly running away. Excuse me. And he's just kind of mid. I say mid, but he's below mid. There's really not much to say about Putrescent Knight. His legacy dungeon is super irritating to get through. And then every time you die to him, you have to drop down a pit. It's like, okay. I will say his moveset's pretty fun to learn how to dodge at a certain point. I know it doesn't show when I fought him. I didn't seem like I was enjoying myself at all. But that's just the way I play the game. It's nothing to get... it's nothing to apply to this video. I really, I did enjoy it. I did. I promise I did. But it was just kind of mediocre. Just annoying moves, an annoying mandatory phase transition where he launches fire across the arena. Okay. Do holy damage, he gets eviscerated. I didn't do holy because I blocked myself off from getting the sanctified wet blade. So that's on me. I could have probably destroyed him in 3 hits, but if you just do your damage on him, get your staggers, he really has a low health bar, so he's easily cheesed. I phase skipped him for the win, but just all in all, not a very solid fight. It's just whatever. And it is what it is. And then we move on to regular Radahn base game Radahn. I mean, this fight's a classic. I think it's super grandiose how you can summon all these champions and fight them. I didn't do it this run because I was doing no summons, but I think it's super cool. You get all them summons on. He's super weak to Scarlet Rot, which makes him very open to cheese because Scarlet Rot is the ultimate cheese weapon in the game, the Rot Breath. So with that, he's probably just not going to make it, maybe high C, low D kind of territory. But he's really not all that. Ultimately, his moveset's just kind of smacking the ground with swords and shooting rocks at you. The arrow phase, makes it you come in there, you're like, whoa, this guy's sitting on the hill shooting arrows. It's kind of a unique boss fight in that sense, where you start so far away in this giant arena. It's definitely the biggest arena in the game. And he's kind of got this cool little thing about him where he's launching arrows at you, and I do find that kind of sick. Like, and I know the arrows are kind of hard to dodge, and maybe it's boring to dodge arrows, but I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. You know, he's shooting at you while you're trying to summon all your allies, and it's a really good backstory. He's one of those bosses that you definitely appreciate while you're fighting him, but at the end of the day, the fight itself is just kind of whatever. Because he's one of those bosses that's really big, and he's elevated by the horse, and he's just, you can't really see what you're doing at all. Like, you're just smacking his horse in his legs while he shoots gravity magic at you. So all in all, it's like whatever. Yeah, why am I yawning? It's just like a so-so boss fight. Could be better. I know a lot of people love that fight and love that boss, and I think he is really cool. Dropped some of the best armor in the game, but ultimately the fight itself, it just lacks fun. Like, I don't find it that fun. It's easy to cheese, and if you don't cheese it, it's boring, and if you do cheese it, it's still boring. So I think it's kind of boring. That's what I'll say. And then we're on to Rolana. This fight is actually great. Mind you, I'm terrible at it. This is one of my worst boss fights ever. Same with Malekith. I'm terrible at fighting Malekith. I'm terrible at fighting Rolana. I'm terrible at fighting Millennia. This is known information. She might be better than Morgott, but I don't think so. I think she's probably bottom of A tier. I mean, it's one of those fights where you really have to learn every move. And every move is dodgeable, but you just have to know when to dodge. I mean, it is just a simple dance, and you will get punished if you aren't dodging, you know, if you aren't being patient. You really just have to go in there and test the water. She does have, you know, the self-stun of when she goes into the second phase, and you can just smack the fuck out of her. And you know, you can damn near phase skip. She has a great health bar. She does great damage. Her moveset is great. I think she is a great boss. I'll say she's not S tier because it's just a knight with two swords. Yeah, I know that sounds mean, or it sounds like dismissive, but they don't even give her a cutscene. You don't feel any kind of importance fighting her. She's a skippable boss. She is not mandatory. And as good as the fight is, you feel nothing. You feel nothing while fighting her because there's nothing to it. You know, all these Remembrance bosses have cutscenes. I mean, Mesmer and Godfrey and Malekith and Millennia, and you know, even Midra and Radon and Moog and Morgott and Elden Beast and Godric, and like all these guys that are, you know, in the same tier as her have an importance to them. They have an importance that makes you feel more special fighting them, and she just doesn't have that. She doesn't speak a word. She doesn't have a single moment where you're like, holy shit, this is sick. She kind of just has a really cool moveset, and she looks really cool, and it's a cool arena. But like, the thing that's carrying, I mean, she really is carried by the fact that it's just a really good boss fight. But it's just not, it doesn't have that entertainment factor or the grand factor that makes it feel cooler than anything else. So really, I would love to put her higher, but she just doesn't create enough importance. And then we have Renala. Renala really is not a good fight. You're smacking children for the first phase, and then hitting her until she eventually explodes, and then you have to go hit a bunch of children again and crack her out of her cocoon again. The first phase is truly dreadful. I mean, what even is that? Whose idea was it for you to go around smacking children? I mean, that's bogus. For sure, that's bogus. I don't want to do that. I mean, and then the second phase is cool, but she's just spewing magic at you, dashing backwards, and then summoning, and you gotta dodge the summons. Like, I don't want to fight people with summons. She's easy to micro stagger. Kind of hard to stance break, more than you think. Her poise is low, but her stance is high, which is kind of weird, but I think if her stance was bad, she would be the easiest boss in the game. And she's one of those bosses that really depends on your build to see if you struggle or not. Like, if you have a fast attacking build and you can get them hits in there and get those micro staggers, I think you're just probably going to destroy her. With the strength build, I actually struggled a little bit. Most of my strength builds, I do struggle against Renala, just because she's always got something going on, shooting something, backing away, you know. I don't know, I think it's a fine fight. The first phase is just horrible. The first phase is literally so bad and so stupid and, like, just useless. Like, I understand the lore implication of it, and to me, in a sense, I'm glad they have it so you understand that it's Ronnie protecting her mother, but my god, it is a dreadful first phase. It's not difficult, it's just a tedious, it's like you're doing chores instead of fighting a boss, so that's just not happening for me. It's not getting above C tier. And it's only above Lance X because Lance X is really just a boring dragon fight. Just reskinned dragon fight with, slightly two cool moves. So Ramana is good. Ramana is a good boss fight. Ramana might get A tier, but maybe she'll just get top of B. Ramana's a great boss fight. Just a large move set with a bunch of stuff that's fun to dodge, things you could try to jump over. Not too easy to stance break, but just easy enough. She obviously has her weaknesses of fire, so if you go in there with a fire weapon, you're probably just gonna maul her. But I think she holds a level of difficulty that is necessary for a mandatory boss. She spins around, she jumps in the air, she's got a whole fucking active moveset. She's a good size, but she keeps you at range with her I don't know, centipede head and tail. Super just entertaining moveset. Kind of difficult to dodge, but I think that's what's good about her. You just have to have your timing down, man. You really just have to know what you're doing, know where you are. I really do like the boss fight. And the phase transition's cool. She jumps in the air and she explodes things with the butterflies, and it's and she flies around, but she doesn't do it too much to the point where it feels like you want to pull your teeth out and just fucking curse whoever made it. So I will say, I like the boss fight. It's definitely not A tier, but it's better than Moog, who stands still, and it's better than Elden Beast, who runs away. Just not as good as the A tier guys, but probably the best B tier for sure. Very good boss fight. There's really not much to say about it though. She barely speaks. No cutscene's kind of crazy for a mandatory boss with pretty deep lore. And she's a super cool concept. She's like half person, half bug. I really just appreciate the art that went into her. But yeah, again, same problem with Rolana is that you have with Ramana is that she just doesn't feel important because she has nothing regarding her. There's barely anything about her. No one really talks about her. You just go there and kill her because you have to. The moveset's great though. Moveset's great. Just the importance is lacking bad, and that's why Mesmer's so high. His moveset's definitely better than Ramana's, but he just has this air about him where you're like, holy shit, I'm fighting Mesmer. This is cool. And so that's why he's my favorite boss fight. I think in the entire game, I'd give Mesmer, props. I mean, and if Radagon was Radagon was his own person, he would definitely be S tier as well. But since he's combined with Elden Beast, he's B tier. And then we have this fucking guy. I'm forgetting his name. Something with an R. Hold on. Rykard. There we go, Rykard. Rykard's not a good boss fight. It's cut and dry. It's a gimmick boss fight where they give you a specific weapon to fight him with. It just kind of buns. He's not terrible because he's very difficult, and for that it gives you a lot of entertainment. And he has a lot of moves that you can learn. But then he has that fucking ground pound move where he puts his head in the dirt and flings it at you, and it might be the hardest move to dodge in the entire video game. Like harder than Gaius' charge. But he does it not that often. I hate the fact that he's surrounded by lava because I want to get close and hit him. Like you're forced to use the gimmick weapon. Luckily the gimmick weapon is quite good. So it doesn't matter. So to me, it's somewhat acceptable. That's why it's in C tier. And also, he has cool cutscene, and he's like a sick boss fight. And he pulls a sword out of his mouth, and it's super sick. And so you can't really hate Riker too hard, just because of how sick he is. You see, everything at the bottom has no cutscenes, kind of fucking, just kind of there. And they're on top of that, their movesets suck. He has a cutscene. His moveset is pretty ass, but he just has like, you know, he just has aura. I don't know what to tell you. And I said I wasn't gonna rank on aura, but I can't help it, bro. Because Riker is truly too cool to be in D tier. Truly too cool to be in the bottom. So I had to place him here in C. And there is no item for Bale, but he is the bottom of D. I hate Bale. Bale sucks. I mean, first of all, no cutscene. It's all purely visual. Your screen is being cluttered with his giant body and all the lightning and the fire that he spews. You seldom know what's going on. He has one spot on his body that you can lock onto, and it's his head. And the problem with this is the head is always moving. So when you go for a hit with a melee weapon, it's already out of your way by the time you're like can think about it. And so you can't go for charged heavies on the head. And so if you go for the body, fine, okay. So let me unlock from the head. Let me go to the body. You have no idea what's going on. It's completely like he'll spew fire between his legs, and even if you dodge that, then he'll fly away behind you. You're like, where'd he go? And before you even like can figure out where he is, you're whipped with the tail. I think that's just garbage. Like how you lose him so easily if you don't lock onto the head, but if you are locked onto the head, you miss a lot of attacks. I just think it wasn't thought through. And then on top of that, his second phase is pure torture. I really, really, really hate his second phase. I think it is just genuine garbage. It is just vomit. He goes in the air and lands on you, and then he explodes everything, and you gotta get the timing. There's no indicator for when to dodge for the second explosion when he does certain moves. You just kind of have to know. That sucks. I hate that. That's also a problem with Scatter Tree Avatar. When he explodes or when it explodes, there's a very negligible indication of when it's actually gonna shoot out projectiles. Bale is the epitome of this. In his second phase, he is constantly nuking the arena in ways that you can't even comprehend. His lasers I found difficult to dodge. I've seen videos now of people fighting him where maybe it makes a little more sense, but it just feels bad. Like, but that's also the case where you have to unlock from him, and you might lose him, and then he's gonna do another move. And my God, I will say that the amount of time he gives you after you get the riposte and after the stagger, he lays there for a while and lets you hit him, which I respect. Don't get me wrong. But that's about the only good thing about him. He's constantly moving. You're constantly missing against him. It just feels like such shit to fight him. Especially if you're doing no summons, you don't have Igon. So now what? So now it loses entire... The fight loses aura because you don't have somebody, like, screaming, "Curse you, Bale!" Like, you lose the pungency of this fight without Igon. So in a no summons run, it's kind of just... He's just kind of a dragon at the top of a mountain who looks cool, but he is truly, truly bad to fight, truly. I mean, constant arena nukes, constantly flying away in the second phase. Like, way too mobile for a boss that size, and I hate mobile large bosses. I think that is true, utter bullshit. His hitbox, and the only thing you could lock onto is constantly moving away from where you're trying to attack. It just feels like a boss fight that wasn't made with the intention to be fun. I think Bale is definitely my least favorite boss fight in the entire game. And with that being said, that is the Elden Ring Remembrance tier list. And I hope you enjoyed.